On my way home from Mohawk Raceway, just backing out here. Well, that was quite the day. On days like this when we got a lot of horses racing, you get a different look at a lot of different things. And, we reported this morning how bad the wind was here at Mohawk. It sucks. Anytime you have to race a 2-year-old and, one of their first lifetime starts is in inclement weather, whether it be a lot of rain and mud or cold weather or wind. You don't often get wind like this. Certainly not to the extent where they're giving the races variance because of the wind. You certainly don't get it. And I'm freezing right now. The temperature dropped about 11 degrees since 5 o'clock. Ooh, I'm freezing. So take a look back at what took place today. I know everybody wants to hear about Horn Player. We'll get to her in a second. We had other horses racing. Swinging Senorita looked good today with a win in 2 minutes, first over in the Meadows, and looked very, very professional. Little green at the gate, though. Professional in the race. Green at the gate. What I liked most about her was, if you guys go back and watch the view they show after where the horses are slow, the slow motion view going through the wire. Her ears are up, going under the wire. She's racing. And it's a first ever lifetime start behind the gate for a horse. It's always exciting. It was super exciting later on also with the other two fillies. Unfortunate. I think the wind played. It was definitely a catalyst of what took place with Horn Player. But as I said, we'll get to that in a minute. Swinging Senorita was fantastic. Look down at Columbus now. LD's Patrick was in way over his head today, in tough today. And, we always have that lingering question in the back of our minds, all of us, all my partners with LD's Patrick. When's the rest coming? When are we going to rest this horse? And I every time I asked the question out loud or quietly to myself, maybe even going to the gate, he answered emphatically, not today. And today, it wasn't that he answered tired, but at the same token, it's as much that LD's Patrick is in a tough spot now, right? Now there's not a class where you can slide him in and give them a little bit of a beating and, kind of a little bit of a hit and run. We can't do that with him right now because we can now. But that's important also. Now that he has a little bit of money off his card, it might be wise to not ask him if he needs a rest and just rest him. So I don't think he needs a ton of time off. I think we're going to give him a month off to let him shine up again. The horse looks like he's such a nice horse in the barn too. When you look at him, I was just telling Steve, we were at Mohawk, and I'd said to him, I really believe that LD's Patrick might be my favorite horse to drive right now, or one of them for sure. There's a number of horses I really enjoy driving at the stable and at the track, and LD's Patrick's, I think, my favorite, if not one of them. So I'd say to Jason, it's as much that we don't really have that hit and run class for him now than anything else. The last thing you want to do is get racing him again. We're on the track at 15-1 today. There's lots of classes for this guy, but if we want to race him all fall, or late in the fall, all winter, spring, who knows what LD's Patrick's going to be? I don't even know. And I've sat behind him as much almost as anyone. I don't know how good he can be, but I'd like to find out. So I think we're going to turn him out, give him a month off, not because he's exhausted, not because he had a bad day, because the timing is right, because we don't have a class, we can just drop him in and pound them. So I think LD's Patrick can go in the field, need some grass. I think if any horse earned it for us, it's him. So LD's Patrick's going out on the grass for a month. Kings County, I think one of those races where as a driver, you wish you had it back. I guess Brett came up to Jason after the race and said, "You know what, man? I'm really sorry. When it comes to Kings County," he said, "we raced 3 horses today, Kings County and 2 other horses. Both the other horses scoped sick, and they're right beside Kings County. When Kings County come on the track, he kind of felt really flat. Just kind of felt present, just like the other 2 did." He said, "So I think in my head, I had this preconceived notion that Kings County was sick. He said, so I didn't want to come first over again with him. He wasn't in the greatest spot. And then bottled up bad in the last turn, he said, and then he finished up like a monster. You know, we weren't even to the wire, and I was already kicking myself for not moving him. So, you know, I said to Jason, I said, you know, he doesn't have to be, you know, drop the hammer every week on Kings County. This is a horse that, again, we had bought this horse in January. He's done a lot of good for us, and he's going to continue to do good for us, but I don't think we have to run him wide open every week. And first over into an 8-5 favorite in the Open at Scioto at 35 degrees out, maybe not the best place to be. So this is one of these times where maybe Brett was upset because he didn't drive him a little more aggressively, but I think I'm okay with it today. And then Per Lucky, you know, Per Lucky, his last start bled a little bit. That's why it was so emphatic that he was going back to Ohio. Looked to me like he needed a little bit of that work done, but more importantly, I think, you know, when a horse of his age bleeds, you know, a week ago or so, it's not that just that easy. Just oh, boom, we'll just give him this magic medication and everything will be great. I think you're going to see him. I think you saw him good today. Not great, not awesome. He was a beaten 3-5 favorite, but I think you're going to see him better next week and really, really good that third week. Just takes time. You know, these are living, breathing animals, and although he didn't bleed very much, it was detected under scope, minute amount, but at the same token, that plays a role, right? That plays a role in the horse's health, and you know, Jason and everybody's done a great job to work on that. I just don't think, looking at him, I thought that yes, that probably played a role, and secondly, also, he didn't look 100% sound. It looked to me like he needed a little bit of vet work done, and I think he's going to get that vet work this week. So the good news is, anytime you have a great horse that's in those middle conditions that maybe has a little bit of a flat race, gives him another crack at them next week. So Per Lucky will be back racing next week at Scioto Downs. And don't think for a second that the temperature of 35 degrees didn't play a role. It did, for sure. So a lot going on with those horses, a lot going on here in Ontario. As I said, Swinging Senorita was awesome. Per Lucky was good. Wasn't great, but he was good. Kings County was great. Didn't get a chance to race. And LD's Patrick, in tough, not his crowd, and not his trip. And that's certainly not Tony's fault. It's just the way that it shook out. Still good. And then we went to Ontario, and I warmed up Horn Player. She's still very green. She looks around a lot at a lot of stuff. We put the snake cord back in her mouth tonight because I knew I wanted to race her from off the pace. At least I thought I did. And it looked like getting into the last turn, Dougie's horse was going to go the other way. It almost seemed like he was pulling up on the front end. And I just let Horn Player coast out. And as I did, Sylvain's filly shot up the inside. And to be honest, I was maybe okay riding it out. But then I said, you know what, I'll just get Dougie's horse. I looked up and I could see the body language of Dougie's horse. She was in another world. She wasn't paying attention at all. I moved her over and you could see Horn Player cleared to the front in 2 seconds. Now, they originally posted the third quarter in 28 apiece. I knew that was inaccurate. That was not true. They corrected it afterwards. The third quarter was charted in 31 seconds, but when I moved her, it was like a 29-second kind of sprint speed. And then her also, when she got to the front, that wind hit her. You could see she struggled a bit. She was gone. I think her and Una Madonna were going to be 1-2. There was no two ways about that. I don't even know if Una was going to get me. But you could see her wander a bit, and I kicked it. I didn't want to, but I kicked the earplugs and roared at her, and she went to come forward, and when she did, she knuckled over. So why did she knuckle over? I don't know. I think we're going to add some borium to her hind shoes. We had added borium to a couple of horses' hind shoes. Now, borium is, how do I say this? So you have your full sweat shoe. It's a steel alloy. And borium is, they weld it on. It's little dabs of, like a line, a drizzle, if you will, a drizzle of metal across the front of the swedge. And it just gives the horses a little more traction. Sometimes they don't need it, sometimes they do. This filly wears egg bars behind, and I'm almost certain she needs it. Totally different situation, totally different surface and horse. But, well, no, that was her brother. Laugh now. We added borium to his hind shoes before his victory in Georgian Downs the other day. That was funny. So Laugh now is her brother, and we put borium. He wears the exact same shoes, or wears the same shoes behind Egbars behind that his sister does. Now, I felt he was slipping the week before and had to borium to his toes to go to Georgian Downs. We're going to add a little bit of borium to the hind shoes of Horn Player. Now, was that why she knuckled over? You can't really say. There's no way for me. I can give you a checklist of reasons a horse could knuckle over, right? Generally, when a 2-year-old knuckles over, it's their stifles. Now, it's not that they're sore, they're just weak, right? Why are they weak? Is she slipping? Could that make them weak? Possibly. Do you need to blister the stifle cords and tighten them up a little bit? Possibly. But I think the catalyst of all this was her losing her focus, right? That wind hit her, and you can see she didn't really know what to do. When you think about these young horses, a big, strong filly like that, for her to lose focus in one of the most pivotal parts of the race, it's a big deal. She knuckled over. She made a break. We'll put borium on her. We'll blister her stifles. I might even Baycox her a little bit. And then she'll race again next Friday. Una Madonna, I was glad to see her win. James said she was still on the right line. We had 2 little wolf teeth found in her the other day. Didn't seem to change. She still laid on the line. Was she laying on the head pole? Is there something bothering her? I watched the replay 4 times. I can't pinpoint any mechanics that were out of order. And neither could James. James says, Anthony, I don't know. And I said, well, we headed to the vet April 29th. And she did make reference to her when she trotted her off. She thought a slight issue right hind, but then x-rayed and floor scoped the whole leg and nothing was found. Under flexion, so when she flexed the joints and trotted her off, no difference, nothing was found. So is there in fact something bothering her right hind, or is it mechanical? Is it mental with her? Because Johnny had reminded me last week that we did have a head pull of Murphy blind on her at the open house. I warmed her up and we took it off her. And we opted for a jawbreaker and a line pull inside. And then Jody drove her and she was fine. So these are the puzzles that we're always trying to put together. Now I know she's going from a 7/8 to a 5/8 in Kentucky next week. So it's a puzzle that I'd like to get to the bottom of. So we may have her back up to the vet to get her looked at, looking at her history and seeing no change from before and after she visited the vet last time. This may be a mechanical issue that we have to work on. If it is, we have tons of options, any of which, and I'll be in Kentucky, so we'll have a chance to make some equipment adjustments, warm her up a mile in Kentucky, and then say, okay, like what I see, or still on that right line, are we going to add a bit burr? Are we going to add put that Murphy blind closer, have an extended jawbreaker, change her out to a line pole, or put 2 poles on the left of her? There's a multitude of ways that we can help hang her up so she's going straight. The fact of the matter is that she was dialed in, though. It just goes back. It just goes back to. It's worth me noting that although the wind was even a bit stronger tonight, you want to know how strong the wind was? Watch race 1. They couldn't even close the wings of the starting gate. They had to move it out of the way, get out in front of everybody, stay in front of everybody, and get up to the outside of the track. And as soon as they were parallel with the wind, gates closed, no problem. But they couldn't close the gate. In race 1. So that's important, because when you go back and look at Crantini and how good he was this morning, here's a horse that was all by himself. No one around the whole mile. Finished up 29 and a piece into a pretty heavy, not quite as heavy as tonight that the fillies went through, but still a pretty sufficient enough to give the variant of 2 seconds to the track. So very happy with everybody. Obviously, we're having a big week. Swinging Senorita looked great today. Horn Player looked good right up until her break. And Una Madonna looked great also. Now, the break with Una Madonna is not something she's done very often at all, and something that we can mitigate with equipment. And obviously, if she's going to find herself lost a little bit on the front end, we'll just race her from off the pace a little more. I was happy with the way she handled with the snake cord on next week, so we'll go back. We'll race her next Friday again and look for the result we probably would have or should have had tonight. So that is it for today. I didn't see Century Invictus go yet. He's 8-5. I wish everybody good luck with him. We'll watch him. I'm going to watch him go here. I'm 5 minutes from home. They're 6 minutes from post. It's going to work out perfectly. So good luck to the Century Invictus crew. Almost there, boss. I almost missed him. He was third tonight. Raced good also. We have our sale going on Monday. We do have some reserves for horses. And I don't have a problem telling everybody the reserves now, because if anybody calls me, I have no problem telling them the reserves. The reserve for Frosty Trouble is $21,000. The reserve for Stonebridge Simba is $25,000. They sell on that number. $25,000. $25,000 for Levitor, and there's one other horse was at 22. Crew Chief was at 22. So there is no reserve on the 2-year-olds, none whatsoever. I think it's 18 or 20 on High Gear No Fear also. So those are the selling numbers for those horses, and we'll see how everything goes on Monday. I haven't really dug into the rest of the sale yet. There may be horses that we're looking at. I was bidding on a horse today. I'm well aware as we move out some of the horses that are tough to find classes for right now, we can move in some that aren't. Now, I bid on the horse today that was second to Massive Profit last night. Fashion Hall, something like that. I didn't think he was worth the 32 or 34 that he went for. I was out at 20 some. But I am actively looking. There's no lull. The stable is going to continue to move forward in a quick, aggressive way if need be. We do have horses going out. That means we can have horses coming in, and we will if it makes sense. So with that, another long end to the evening, a long day. My day starts at the barn tomorrow, and then I believe Ava Lily, my daughter, and I are going to go to Ohio for the evening. I'm going to race 3 horses. Our girls want to skip a few. Purple Aura and Sweet on Pete are getting some stakes action in tomorrow night. And then Sunday I'm going to get up and have a little breakfast with my girl, and then go home to Ontario, where we are going to race some horses at Georgian Downs. So for everybody else, good luck, as I said, to the Century Invictus group. Good luck to everybody racing tomorrow, and Brenda with Bolt Power at Mohawk, Patrick the Piranha at Saratoga, and everybody else on Monday. Everybody's on pins and needles for Monday. We got our boys in to go. I get Enzo in with Carter Michael Dio, and then we have Brace for Landing in with Nothing But a Dreamer. It should be an exciting day. It's a great start to the summer. I will talk to you all very soon. I hope you had a great day. Aside from the wind, it was a great day here in Ontario. Take care, everybody.